It's the weekend of the only doubleheader this season for the 2022 IndyCar Series. This doubleheader is held at Iowa Speedway. The first race of the doubleheader is on Saturday for the HY-VEE 250. And then the second race is on Sunday for the HY-VEE Salute to Farmers 300. This is race 11 and 12 of the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series season. Qualifying was done Saturday morning before the first race of the weekend. It's a 2-lap qualifying format where they measure the fastest average speed, where the fastest average speed gets pole position. The first lap speed average they do sets their position for the first race on Saturday, and then the second lap speed average they do will set their qualifying position for Sunday's race. There were only a few drivers where their 2-lap averages deferred their starting positions for the 2 races, but most of the drivers were consistent with their 2-lap speed averages, that they would start both races in the same position or within 1 position of each other. But Will Power was the fastest of them all, getting pole position for both races. Will Power now has in his IndyCar career 66 pole positions. He is 1 pole position away from tying Mario Andretti's all-time pole position record for the IndyCar Series at 67 pole positions. Joseph Newgarden would start alongside in second. At the start of the first race of the weekend, the HY-VEE 250, Will Power would get into the lead, with Joseph Newgarden slotting behind in second. The first caution would come out on lap 17 with Jimmie Johnson spinning out, but he did not hit anything and would manage to get back into the race. Then on that restart, Joseph Newgarden would take the lead. Simply from there, Newgarden would be the best car out there, being able to manage the degradation of the tires, which was an issue in this race. Jimmie Johnson would work his way through the field after spinning out. He would make some spectacular passes on track. Being on an off strategy, he did cycle into the lead, where he led 19 laps of the race. A couple more incidences would come out and create caution periods. On lap 111, Felix Rosenqvist would spin out through turns 1 and 2 and crashing out. And then on lap 164, Ed Carpenter would lose it coming out of turn 2 and crash out himself. There was some great racing throughout this race. Everybody was jockeying for positions. And even there was a lot of battling up front where Newgarden would have to fight off advances from Marcus Ericsson, Pato O'Ward, and his teammate Will Power. But Newgarden would lead the majority of laps in the race and would go on to win the HY-VEE 250. His win moves him up to second in the championship point standings, 15 points behind Marcus Ericsson. Alright, I'm filming this after the HY-VEE Salute to Farmers 300. Let's recap that race. Again, the qualifying positions were set yesterday on Saturday morning, where the second lap of their qualifying set those positions for the second race. Will Power started on pole with Joseph Newgarden in second. Before the race overnight, rain fell and cleaned up the track. Tire degradation was an issue in the first race, so it would be an issue again in the second race, especially with the cleaner track, where most of the rubber has been washed away. The track would re-grip as the race was underway. The start of the race was very clean and exciting as everybody was jockeying for positions. Will Power would hold that lead. When Joseph Newgarden passed his teammate Will Power on lap 84, Joseph Newgarden would set to dominate the race. The first caution would come out on lap 120, where Kyle Kirkwood got into the gray and crashed into the wall, entering turn 1. He was very close to the leader, Joseph Newgarden, at the time. And then more hard racing in between, with Joseph Newgarden leading. Then on lap 235, Joseph Newgarden would crash out from the lead. He would spin out coming out of turn 4, which they suspected to be a possible suspension failure. Pato O'Ward, who started the race third, managed to stay up there in the front, and after Joseph Newgarden's crash, he would be able to take the lead. Pato O'Ward would hold off a closely fought Will Power to get the win for the HY-VEE Salute to Farmers 300. The rest of the podium was completed by all Chevy and Team Penske drivers, with Will Power second and Scott McLaughlin in third. Now, as we take a look at this graphic here for the championship, NBC brought out this graphic comparing what the points were like before Joseph Newgarden had his crash and how everybody was running at the time, comparing it to after the race to where the championship stands now. It is going to be a closely fought championship to the end. Marcus Ericsson still leads the IndyCar Series Championship for 2022 after race 12. Joseph Newgarden falls back to third in the championship. Will Power would be in second, and with his win today, Pato O'Ward moves up to fifth in the championship. It's interesting how Joseph Newgarden has the most wins this season, but he is not first in the championship at the moment. Again, that's thanks to his inconsistent finishes. Yeah, he finished first in 4 races, but he also DNF'd or did not finish well in a lot of other races. But his wins kept him near that top spot in the championship. But with today's crash, it did make his job a little bit more difficult to winning this year's championship. I really want to commend the folks at HY-VEE and the organizers for the HY-VEE IndyCar weekend at Iowa Speedway, because they really put on a great show with concerts and racing. Even though we didn't see the concerts televised and whatnot, looking at what they did, it looks amazing, and I hope to visit there one day. And I hope they keep it a doubleheader, because the doubleheader is great at Iowa Speedway. The next race of the season for the NTT IndyCar Series is back on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, where it's the top tiers of motorsports racing together on the same track on the same weekend with the NTT IndyCar Series and the NASCAR Cup Series. The NASCAR Cup Series races on Sunday on the road course, but for the NTT IndyCar Series, race 13 of 17 of the season, they race on Saturday, July 30th for the Gallagher Grand Prix. Coverage of the race can be seen on your local NBC affiliate, as well as the Peacock streaming service on Saturday, July 30th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Before finishing off this episode, I did see a bit of news about Joseph Newgarden. After Joseph Newgarden's crash at Iowa Speedway, he would be checked and released from the infield care center, but then later he would collapse and be sent off to hospital for further checks. Tests came out negative for any further injuries, but he would be kept overnight for further evaluations. That's all the news that was released about Joseph Newgarden. Hopefully you'll get well soon, Joseph Newgarden, and we'll see you at Indy. That concludes this 2022 NTT IndyCar Series recap of the HY-VEE IndyCar weekend at Iowa Speedway. Please check out more of my variety of videos on the Spellgo channel, and as always, thank you for watching.